Hey everybody, welcome back to MTG Spec. My name is Tom. I'd like to share with you an article by Ethan Rogers from June 24th, 2021 called Rarer Than Black Lotus, the Most Expensive Magic Cards. I already have one issue with this article, which is just that they're not necessarily the most expensive because a lot of these have never even made it to market. But they are the most valuable, just objectively speaking. Now, we're not talking about magic peripheries like the Heirloom Minotaur, whatever bust that they had at Wizards main office, or the original art by Christopher Rush for the Black Lotus, the original painting. That's obviously, if there's 1,000 Black Lotuses, there's only one painting. We're not talking about, signed art card by Richard Garfield and Stan Lee or anything like that. This is just strictly paper magic products that have been printed in a physical form. And none of these are foil, and surprisingly, none of these are reserve list. Now, they do talk about some reserve list cards, but we're just talking about the 7 most valuable. So kind of scroll through, see some of this nonsense. Volcanic, Underground Sea. Who doesn't have a black bordered Underground Sea, am I right? Time Walk. This card was funny, by the way. Take an extra turn after this one. When they originally printed this card, a lot of people thought that they won immediately because the original wording was your opponent loses next turn. They're like, well, it says they lose. Let's see, Time Twister. Oh, I used to play with that. That was a fun card. Black Lotus. Okay, yeah. Now, I know that on this list it's number 7, but they do some goofy things on this list, so we'll get to that. Foil Intuition. All right, there's no way a judge foil of Intuition is going to beat an Alpha Black Lotus. I don't care how rare it is. Okay, so here we get to one. I actually hadn't even heard of this till I read this article, Phoenix Heart. So this was one. It's not really a playable card. It says, Coney and Richard continue the game and play all games as partners forever. Wait, friends forever? Is this a secret lair? Oh my god. Anyway, no, this was his second wedding. So this does not tie into the Stranger Things mechanic of friends forever. But this was his second wedding. And it says here they printed 330 cards, which they gave out to like Wizards employees and stuff like that. Really cool art by Drew Tucker too. Imagine being a magic artist and then Richard Garfield asking you personally to be the artist for like drawing your wedding, marriage card. Like that's got to be like being a comedian on Carson and getting asked over to the couch. That's got to be quite an honor. All right, so then we have Splendid Genesis and Fraternal Exaltation. I would break these apart. I don't know why they would share a number 4. I mean, they have different rarities. For one thing, they said. So Splendid Genesis was when they had their first kid, and they gave this out 110. So what, 10 times rarer than Alpha Black Lotus? This other one, they said 220, so that's only 5 times rarer than Black Lotus. So that's pretty amazing. Like if those ever made it to market, I cannot imagine what they would get. I mean, that's just so rare. But it gets worse. Proposal. Now this one had, okay, so this is his first wife, Lily Wu. So Richard Garfield's got a little thing for the Asian ladies. So this one, he actually dealt into a deck. Yeah, it says down here. He dealt into the deck, and they had to play a bunch of games before it actually came out. And they printed 8 more copies of Proposal to give to like the production manager and Quentin Hoover. Quentin Hoover's copy was stolen, so there's only like 8 of these in existence. But I think not all these are created the same. Certainly, if you could verify that the proposal card was the one that was actually used to propose with, that would carry a tremendous amount of added value if it ever made it to the open market. Then we have, I'm not going to try to say that. Oh yes, I am. Let's see. Shichifukujin dragon. I butchered that, but anyway, that is a dragon made in 1996. It was given at Tokyo, Japan, and that was a unique card. So there's only one of these printed. It was for a special event, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh no, it was the DCI Tournament Center. It was built. So this one, they know where it is. It's still on display. but there's only one copy of this card, which has really cool art. Yeah, it has you get 7+1/+1 counters, and you can burn 3, or you can burn 2 counters to get 3, so you can build it up. But it's basically just an overcost card, but it's still really cool. But again, only one of those exists, and again, this one, the World Champion. This was another one that was made in 1996. Only one exists, and this one, unlike the Dragon, they confirmed that the plates and everything was destroyed. So this one, they can only make one of. But I would still say, if you could figure out which proposal card was actually used, I don't know if you guys ever watch like Antiques Roadshow or any of that kind of stuff, but they are like collectors. They are crazy about provenance, about stories that add value to the thing. Like, if you're like, yeah, this Lamborghini was driven by General Lee against Adolf Hitler, in the Battle of Royale with Cheese, and you're like, holy shit, that's amazing. Like that sort of thing really adds value to a card. So I think my personal list is, I would actually bump this to second behind the one proposal. Now the problem is they printed like 8 proposals, so you're not going to know which one it is. But I would still list that if Richard Garfield, signed an affidavit saying, this is the proposal I used to propose to my first wife, who I hate now, and I'm selling this for child support, then yeah, I think that one card would actually beat this card. But I would definitely give this a solid number 2. And then this would be the 3rd rarest. And then every other copy of Proposal would be the 4th. And then I'd say probably like 5th and 6th, just because of the quantities. The art on that's hideous. And then 7th rarest would be this one right here, Phoenix Heart. So I think those would be probably the top 7 rare, most valuable Magic cards in that order. I disagree with this article a little bit, but it's a great article. Again, well done. A lot of research went into this. But I would also add that none of these cards on this article are technically reserve list. And, Creepy Rudy on his channel, he talks about how people talk to him a lot about how Wizards is going to break the reserve list because they could make $1 million if they put Black Lotus in a product or something like that. Imagine this scenario. Wizards of the Coast goes to Richard Garfield. They're like, we have all of your ex-wives and your current wife and all your kids in the trunk of a car, and we'd like to do a secret lair with your cooperation. Because I don't know, I assume since, actually this is interesting, because this seems to have some sort of copyright data, but Richard Garfield presumably was the guy who ordered this art for his proposal cards and his child announcement cards. So if he ordered that stuff, he may actually have proprietary rights to it, even though it was printed on a physical Magic card. But let's pretend all that horseshit is dealt with. And they have these 7 cards, and they want to do a secret lair. And they reach out to celebrities, to influencers, to whales, and to distributors. And they tell them up front, hey, guess what? We have an amazing opportunity for you guys. And they're like, yeah, but I don't know. How about we do these 7 as a secret lair, reprint them, $1 million per kit, and we're only going to print 200 kits, but we're going to give half of it to charity. And, Richard Garfield, whatever, he got like $10 million for a charity of his choice just to make this happen. So Wizards is going to print 200 of these secret lairs at $1 million each, but they're only going to make $100 million. But they could do it without breaking the reserve list. Imagine that. And the proposal card, we never really saw the art on that, but I think it's safe to say it's probably incredibly beautiful because this is Quentin Hoover's art. He's one of the best of all time. Like, he really is just incredible. You have Vesuvian Doppelganger. He did Earthbind, which is iconic and one of my favorite cards of all time. Like, this guy is the GOAT. So Imagine getting that card with that story, one of the most iconic, memorable stories of Magic history. Uh, you know, $100 million cleared by Wizards could be low. Like if they opened it up to the general public and still $1 million each, you don't think there'd be 100 whales and investors out there who wouldn't jump on that opportunity? I think they would sell out in about 2 minutes. Even if they gave like just, yeah, we're only going to run the secret lair for 24 hours. These are the 7 rarest cards ever printed. Even though there's 200 more copies now in existence, they're still all rarer than Alpha Black Lotus. Good Lord. And people complain about Imperial Seal. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.